Okay, so hello guys. Now in this video, I'm just gonna be telling you how I tell whether a trend is changing or whether a trend is ending. So these are actually something like 5 factors that I use on a daily basis to tell whether a trend has changed or it's changing probably to or reversing to the negative direction. So, and this helps me to enter trends at a very early stage and make 100% of profits even before the trend does it. So you need to have that understanding so that you know when a trend is yet to change as early as possible, probably even faster than most of the traders in the market across the world. So now that said, let's just dive in and talk about these probably 5 factors that I do use on my system to predict the change of a trend. So how do I know that this trend has really changed and it's probably going to be taking a different course, and therefore if I'm in a trend, if I had entered the bid, I should be closing, or even I should be leaving the trend with the profits that I just have made, or even entering a new trend to that new direction where it has changed to. So they're kind of like 5 factors, and I also have around 5 indicators that I use to predict the perfect change of the trend. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining when they bring signals, how do you tell that that as per now we are changing into a different trend. Now let's start with the first factor. I'm probably going to be looking at the history, but first of all, let us just look at the current chart here and you see what is happening and what is likely to be happening in the next bar or the next candlestick. Now here we are using the fractal resistance and support indicator. That's number one. The ones that have peaks. You can see them, things like pointed triangles. And then also have zigzag 100. This is the one with jointed lines, and we have also the Usam oscillator, 3 of them, and these are the ones. And we also have the Aron trend, which actually is here. Then the net volumes, which are 2, the net volume close and the net volume open. So now I'm going to be explaining how I use all these to tell the future of a trend, whether we still have any future in that trend or we're going to be reversing into a different direction. So number 1, now look at this. Looking at the fractal is most cases the first one to detect the first change. So we have a resistance in red. These are called resistances, and this resistance is actually pushing you back up. So once you have a resistance like this, it will be indicating that it will be pushing you back into the uptrend. Now that's factor number 1. Now factor number 2 is the zigzag, this guy here. So once you have the resistance as it's pushing you up, you look at your zigzag. Do you have the zigzag that is in green? Yes, you have a green zigzag that is also contributing to the pushing you up into the uptrend, meaning that now we already have 2 forces pushing you up in the uptrend. The resistance and support is actually pushing you back into an uptrend, and bullish, of course, bullish trend. And also the zigzag 100 has brought a green color, also contributing to that strengthening or showing the power or the strength of an uptrend, how it's forming. And also factor number 3, we have the Usam oscillator. Once you have an infiltration, a green infiltration in these all 3 Usam oscillators, you just need a green infiltration of 2, because there are 3. Once you have 2, then you're good to go. Now you can see that we have 2 green infiltration on Usam oscillator 136.14 and Usam oscillator 64.7. I'll be giving you all these codes and you'll be pushing them in. Just subscribe to the channel and like the video. I'll be explaining more about these ones and how they're set up in probably next videos, and I'll also give them for free to you, so you don't need to cram them, just understand the concept. Once you have 2 infiltrations here on the Usam oscillators are 3, So once you have two infiltrations on one side, for example, for the uptrend, we have green, making it two infiltrations of green that are pushing us up, and therefore they are also contributing to the ones that the factors that we already have here. The fractal resistance is pushing us up, the resistance in green, the zigzag in green color, that is also contributing to that power that is pushing us into a bullish trend, and also the Awesome oscillator having two infiltrations in green. So that's probably factor number 3 that is actually pushing us back in an uptrend. So let's look at factor number 4. Factor number 4 is actually the net volumes. We talked about these net volumes in the previous video. If you didn't watch the video, you can go back and watch the video, or I will leave the link in the description. I explained how the net volumes are used. You can go and revise it in that video. So if you come back here and you look at net volume close, it must have closed that downtrend, and by crossing to the upper section of the baseline. Just you can see here, it's kind of crossing to the upper section of the baseline, showing that it has closed the downtrend, and therefore it has now officially tried to open into an uptrend. Now we also have net volume open. So until this guy, when this guy comes, we wait for net volume open, who is currently down here, is actually the last guy to confirm that now the trend or the uptrend is open. So he's still down. Once he crosses to the upper section, finding the net volume close up also, both of them will be now crossed to the upper section, even increasing more on the strength of the uptrend. So that's actually good. Let me first check on my trends here. I will do some quick analysis of EURUSD at the end of this video, so please keep in touch. Let us go back to our video. So after the net volume that explained, actually if you want to know more about the net volume, you will visit my previous video and look at that video. It will explain more about the net volume indicator, and therefore the last factor now being the Aron oscillator. Once you see the Aron oscillator, and this is how the Aron oscillator works, it has two lines, that's the green color and the red color lines. So once the red color line crosses the above section, it means that now a downtrend has increased in more strength, and therefore we are heading for a downtrend. But once the green color line crosses the upper section, leaving the red color line down, it means that now probably an uptrend has taken too much of strength, and therefore we are heading for a bullish, an uptrend. But once you see the red color, yes, it is up, but it is kicked down. It means that it is on its way to the down section, and therefore the green, we shall see the green striking up on the above section and leaving the red color down. This is what we are anticipating to be happening next here, and therefore it will be the last part to confirm that yes, that trend is now reversing to the upper section. So a recap. 5 factors that I use to tell whether a trend is changing. Factor number 1, the fractal resistance that pushes you back into a reverse direction, a zigzag in green that also contributes to the upper section, at least two infiltrations that support this. If these guys are telling you that you're pushing you back in the uptrend, then you must have two green infiltration, and also oscillator that support that. Fourthly, we have the net volume close must have crossed up. Maybe one thing I forgot to tell you about the net volume, you'll probably be watching my video and you'll see this in the video. Once the net volume crosses to the upper section, it means that the next bar is automatically an uptrend bar. So uptrend candlestick, and it will be in green. And lastly, the Aron oscillator, and therefore waiting for the strike in green to be in the above section, representing a more power or more strength in the upper section. So basically these are the most 5 important things or cardinal factors that tell when a trend is almost changing direction. So we can go back in history a little bit to confirm what we've been just learned here. So just look at here, a resistance of, let me look for a clear one. It's here. Look at this, a resistance that pushes you back, a green color that also contributes to that, 2 infiltrations of the Awesome oscillator, and also here we're just waiting for this spike into green support that what we've seen here, that will push you back into an uptrend. Then you also have an awesome oscillator, net volume close crossing to the upper section, telling us that now we've closed the downtrend, we're heading to upper trend, and also telling us that the next bar will also be a green bar or an uptrend bar. And lastly, net volume open, that comes and finds the net volume close in the upper section. So it crosses and finds the net volume in the upper section, and therefore increasing the strength of the uptrend. So that's how trends change from one reverse from one direction to another. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.